Hello and welcome to Custom Gamer. My name is Daz and this is the show where we talk about level design while playing cool maps. Today we're playing a Quake map by CZG. This is CZG-03, it is called Ceremonial Circles. It's an older map, it's been around for quite a while, but it doesn't really show its age in the layout and gameplay. It feels very new school. Lots of multi-leveled areas, lots and lots of shortcuts to open up, and insidious secrets to find. And the combat isn't so much about horde combat, it's very tactical and position based. Normally against like anything from 3 to 6 enemies. And it's got some really cool themes in the map. Another thing I really like about it is that it uses my favourite combination of original id textures, which are these medieval green bricks, which I love so much. So let's get into it and have a look. So I haven't played this map for the longest time, and then Sock recommended it to me for a video today, so I thought why not, let's go ahead and do it. I suppose the first thing to talk about is the difficulty. This map is pretty brutal. Even on normal skill I had trouble. On hard it's just downright evil in some places. It's the fact that you're never really safe and you're always being attacked from above. CZG loves his ogres in this map, and that really shows. They're perched on just about every single ledge you can imagine, and it can get pretty tough, especially at the beginning here where you don't really have a lot of ammo or weapons to defend yourself with. The ammo situation can be very tough in this first room if you don't score a lot of direct hits. But it definitely sets the theme of the level, which is you're always being attacked from kind of areas above you. Ogre grenades and the oh so lovely plinking sound they make when they bounce off the environment will become very familiar to you throughout this level. The map has a nice kind of balance between claustrophobic interiors and corridors, and then you have these larger and more spacious areas as you're seeing here where the combat kind of ramps up a bit and you have a lot more room to move. I think the balance is struck quite nicely in that you never really feel like the map's always too cramped, but there's always situations where you feel like you don't have a lot of room to move around. But the thing I really like about this map that it really shows to you early is the fact that it's very vertical and multi-leveled. And the thing the map does really well is that as you kind of go up the level, you're always unlocking shortcuts and routes back up from the bottom back to the top. Which again, I've talked about this before, mostly in Sock's maps, where if you have vertical progression, you need to make sure the player has an easy way back up to where they are if they fall back down again. CZG does a really nice job with that in this map. It's not just the fact that there are ways back up, it's the way he shows them to you when you activate them. So for instance, you'll be walking along a platform and a lift will just activate in front of you going down to the level below you where you've been before. It's just a really nice way to actually show the player that there are shortcuts. You can see here there's a couple of kind of main HMs in the level, but they kind of wind in and out of each other so naturally. It's really cool. It can feel very overwhelming at the beginning here. It's just you're walking around and you're just aggroing so many different enemies at once. It's a little bit less crazy on normal, but on hard you definitely have to just keep moving, otherwise you're just going to get spammed with ogre grenades. There are 7 secrets in total. I managed to find 4 of them. There's a 5th one with a quad damage that I just can't work out how to get to. I have to go back and replay the map some more to find the rest. My excuse, as always, is that I don't want to show you guys where all the secrets are so that you can find them for yourself. So here's the only thing I really didn't like in this map, and that confused the hell out of me on my first playthrough, is that you've got these gold key arrows, and in every other map that I can think of, if you're using an arrow next to a gold key marker, it's usually to show you where the gold key door is. But in this map it's actually showing you where the gold key itself is, and this confused the hell out of me. The issue for me is that I'd already found the gold key door, so I was looking for the gold key itself, and if you just follow the arrows then you're fine, but I looked at the arrow and I said I don't want to go to the gold key door, I want to find the gold key itself, so I just ignored the arrows, and it took me a lot longer to find the key as a result, so I just kept ignoring the entranceway that I was meant to be going through. Yeah, that was just really confusing. We haven't quite got to that part yet, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. So here's the gold key in front of me here as I deal with these ogres. It's not accessible at the moment, you have to come from it from behind. There's a handy secret in here as well if you want a quad damage. I think the quads come in really handy here. So here's the gold key. There is a hint here because you've got the gold key door right there, and then on the ground right in front of it, pointing away from the gold key door, there is a gold key with an arrow. So that's the author kind of hinting that, you know, these arrows aren't showing you where the gold key door is, they're showing you where the key is, but it just wasn't enough for me to kind of latch onto on my first playthrough. So I'm going to skip the part where I run around the level for ages, getting completely lost. I'm on the right track here, but I just completely ignore the arrow in front of me here, so we're just going to skip this part. There we go. So here's where I should have gone, and of course the level just carries on as normal here. It feels fine, but if you don't step through the door, then you're going to have a bad time. Now for the most part, once you get to the mid part of the map and pick up the grenade launcher, ammo isn't so much of a problem anymore. One thing that is kind of unique in this map is that there's no rocket launcher, unless it's hidden in a secret somewhere that I haven't found yet. But it really forces you to get closer to the enemies. I think some of the gameplay would perhaps break down a little bit with the inclusion of a rocket launcher here, because you could just snipe everything at kind of long range where they wouldn't be able to attack you. So I think it works actually really well in this map. Another secret here with the mega health. Another hidden in plain sight secret. I was expecting something really epic here, like the whole presentation of the enemy here, but it's just a fiend. I was expecting like a shambler or something. Here's another instance of a shortcut opening up and the author actually showing the player that there's a shortcut here now, so don't be afraid to jump into this water and explore around a bit. I think that's a really great way to actually encourage players to explore in your map, because in a map like this where progression is vertical, it can be quite scary to drop down into areas below you to explore, because you'd be worried, well, am I going to have to run around the entire level to get back up again? So actually presenting a shortcut like that to the player as they walk by is really cool, I think. By the time you get to the end of the map at the very top level, there's just shortcuts and teleporters all over the place. It becomes really easy to navigate around the map. It feels almost like a deathmatch map at the end, where you can just kind of jump around all over the place. It's really simple to get around. Really nice. And again here, another shortcut. So now you can get right from the beginning of the map straight back to where you are now, just using a lift, two lifts that are placed right next to each other. Really well thought out. So if I wanted to go exploring around in the water at the bottom, which I probably should have done but didn't in this demo, then I can do that without fear of, you know, getting stuck at the bottom of the map again. Now things heat up a little bit, larger enemies start coming out. There's some nice instances here where a shambler will come out at you at first, and then a bunch of smaller enemies will kind of filter in behind it, and some of them will get in front of you and kind of mess up your shambler dance a bit. I think that's really, really cool, having that disruptive element, because shamblers by themselves these days are really, really easy to take out. As long as you can do the shambler dance, they're basically no threat at all. So having other enemies kind of blended into the mix that can really mess up your rhythm is actually really, really cool. For instance, here's another great example of it. You have a shambler, there's some knights behind him that can kind of come around and mess you up. I was quite lucky here in that I managed to pull the shambler forwards enough to kind of stop them doing that, but it's a great thing. Another thing that CZG does a lot in this map is presenting a shortcut to the player, but not actually showing it as a shortcut. So here's a great example of it. You've got this vor that opens up here, and you can actually use this plinth as a shortcut back to where you were now. These stairs were where you came up earlier in the map, so if you want to drop down and again search for secrets or explore the map, that's just another way to get back to where you were really quickly. Really cool stuff. It's a nice reuse of an area as well. It's an area you've already cleared out and it turns it into a little small arena with a vor in it. Really cool. Now we emerge back into the starting area. Another thing that's quite cool about this map is that the exit is right above the entrance, but it just doesn't feel that way because you've had to go around the entire map to get there. Now we have a cool arena fight. I thought it was broken at first when you fall down there, but it's actually just a nice little secret to get to a red armor. I imagine this arena will be very, very tough without finding that. The double vor at the end can be nasty if you're not moving around fast enough. You have to just kind of trail these vor balls around a bit until you find a decent corner. And that brings us nicely back to the silver key door. Scrags going through walls. Happens in a couple of maps. I'm never really quite sure what causes it. But even here you can see that a shambler comes out, but you've got a bunch of Hell Knights behind it which can mess up your rhythm a bit. It's a really cool recurring theme. Got some Doom-style monster closets. And now as we come up these stairs, we're coming to the end of the map here. We've got the exit right in front of you. And yes, you should be scared when the Quake exit is blocked like this. This is where CZG has some fun with the player here. So the double shambler's not too bad because you're on an elevated position, so the lightning's easy enough to miss. Getting an infight between the vor and the shambler is excellent here. Really, really helps a lot. Another cool thing about this is that you can drop down right back to the beginning of the map from here, and there's teleporters you can take right back to the exit, which is another great shortcut. That was close. 61 health, that could have been really bad. And which brings us to the exit. So I think the greatest thing about this map is just the interconnected layout and the way shortcuts and areas open up to aid exploration. It's done really, really well in this map. And the way it presents it to the player as well is really, really cool. It actually shows them that it's okay to drop back down and explore, and that there's an easy way back up again. And the combat as well, it starts off really, really tough at the beginning. just enemies pelting you from all over the place, but becomes really, really fun and tactical by the midpoint, which I like a lot. Okay, let me know what you think in the comments. Apologies for the lack of videos over the last, week and a half. I've been mapping, I've been doing lots of other things, but we're back now. So I'll see you next time.